Hey guys, yeah, welcome back. We are very, very pleased and thankful to have our good friend Bill Karsh back with us today. After we made an attempt last week to connect with him while he was down in Bermuda, unfortunately the internet did not cooperate with us. So he is back in, I believe, New York today. So let's bring up Bill. Why don't we there? Hey Bill, how are you?
Great. Good morning. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Thank you for joining us. You are, am I right, back in New York today?
Yes, I am.
Fantastic.
On 26th Street in Manhattan.
There we go. So back in internet stable territory, which is great for a conversation. Let's jump right into things, Bill. We started off the conversation last week with a bit of a discussion on Velocity Ledger. Maybe we can just recap that a little bit as a company and give us a little bit of background that way.
Sure. Recently, the Bermudian authorities passed a law called DABA, which is a Digital Asset Business Act. And what DABA allows you to do, which is not allowable in the States at this time, is issue tokenized securities that basically can trade in the secondary market, that can raise capital for smaller and medium-sized companies, that really democratizes the investment opportunity. And Velocity Ledger is going to have 3 divisions in Bermuda. Velocity Financial is going to have the exchange license. Velocity Channel is going to be a Bloomberg-style go-to destination for everything related to tokenized securities. And finally, Velocity Technology is going to white label the entire technology stack to any and everyone who wants to participate. And the mantra is going to be issue, trade, settle in Bermuda.
Fantastic. So let's take a step back now and maybe fill in everyone who's not too familiar with tokenized securities on what exactly is a security token?
A security token basically is when someone is interested in raising capital in a regulated environment, it gives them an inexpensive and a different way to fundraise, again, which is much more democratized. So it's a contract that basically can represent anything, an ETF, a gold bar, real estate, things that today typically have not been tradable, non-tradable REITs. And by tokenizing them and allowing the public to trade them, you now can make investments in things that traditionally have been beyond our ability to trade. And so from a trader standpoint, it just opens up the opportunity to create another asset class for trading that's regulated within a regulated structure. The Bermudian Stock Exchange is a recognized offshore exchange by the SEC, and I believe IROC also recognizes them. So it allows you to do things today which are not really allowable in the States or even in Canada at the moment.
So as we've seen cryptocurrencies kind of gain popularity over the past few years and obviously are still very much in the news almost on a daily basis, a lot of people may be familiar with ICOs. How does something like this differ from an ICO?
So ICOs traditionally have been just non-regulated ways to raise money. A young person puts a white paper up on the internet. People look at the white paper, they read the white paper, they decide, okay, I like the idea. And then next thing you know, the company puts up an ICO. There's no segregation of assets. There's no regulatory, oversight. The funds can be, basically stolen. And in a lot of cases, I believe probably about 90%, 95% of the ICOs that were issued between 2017 and 2018 have had difficulty or financial problems or gone bankrupt. So an ICO in a in a jurisdiction like Bermuda does have regulatory responsibilities, and a securities token does too. Just like a public offering would have responsibilities, the company has to put out cap tables, proxies, earnings releases, press releases. All that doesn't change. What changes is the rails that settle the security, which changes is the use of blockchain. It makes it more efficient. It makes settlement faster. It reduces the risk of non-settlement. It reduces the risk of non-delivery. It takes away a lot of the things that happen in the States and in Canada on lower price securities and in areas where there's been some fraud.
So, Bill, we're obviously all traders here looking at different opportunities. If someone watching is maybe curious as to how they could put a trade on or actually physically trade this, what would be the best way?
So basically today there's very limited opportunity to trade in the secondary market of tokenized securities. There's been some attempts in the States to issue them under what you guys probably know as Reg A Plus, 506 C and B, which are parts of the 34 Act, and the new Jobs Act, which allow for small and medium-sized companies to raise capital. So and it's perfect because obviously Facebook today is on the Hill talking to Congress about Libra, which is their form of creating a payment system. These tokenized assets are not crypto based, so we need to separate crypto activity from digitized securities. Crypto activity is normally covered by the commodity side. These securities are going to be covered by the regulators on the security side.
So, in a great information on a regulatory side, but how are these products going to fit as far as the landscape goes for both the U.S. and Canada? Where is something like this going to fit into the current market space?
So I think they're just going to be an additional asset class. It'll be traded electronically, just like an ECN or an ATS or an exchange. If one is approved in Bermuda, you'll be able to, through a broker-dealer, access the exchange and trade these things just like you trade on the New York Stock Exchange or on NASDAQ or on CBOE today. So from a trader standpoint, it really should be just the connectivity of your broker-dealer or your sponsor, Instinet or whoever, Nomura in the case. And then effectively, that should give you an opportunity to make markets. The spread should be fairly significant, therefore allowing traders, hopefully, the ability to get in and out for nice profits. So we're building the ecosystem just like we did at Direct Edge, just like we tried to do at some other places. You have to get the minnows, the whales, the sharks, the barracudas, and and everybody into the ecosystem, and that's what's happening in Bermuda as we speak. We hope that fairly quickly we'll have some listings and opportunities for traders to trade them.
And it's interesting, you mentioned Zuckerberg talking about Libra. We're still seeing big moves in most of the crypto space today because of that. We're going to jump over to Sean real quick. He has a question.
Hey, Bill, how are you, my friend?
Good, Sean.
Good. Quick question here. You did talk about, I know it's interesting for a lot of the traders watching, the idea, I guess you mentioned it sort of being Velocity Ledger and these tokenized securities being traded kind of like an ATS. Is the idea eventually that there are multiple gateways that someone could trade a security that maybe Velocity Ledger will bring to market? Or is that a few years down the road as the adoption starts kicking in? I know settlement maybe is an issue here as well.
So I think we have a half a dozen companies that want to issue on our platform. An example is a company like Hollywood.com that wants to go public via token sale in Bermuda. So I think the answer is absolutely yes. The settlement problem is we're going to issue, trade, and settle in Bermuda. The blockchain will ultimately lock in a transaction once there has been issuance. So issuance will be done on a private blockchain, not open to the public. Once the issuance has occurred, then we will send the information over the public blockchain, and then that transaction will be locked in. And historically, you'll be able to go back and find out who owned it and do all the research that you could do in terms of chain of ownership and go forward. So I think it's an incredible move forward in technology. You don't have to go to the fixed messages like we do today to see what's going on, where the trade got routed. There will be multiple destinations to trade. So what we're hoping, and why we're going to white label the technology, is we think once we get up and running, people will see the opportunity and they will come along for the ride. And you'll have, just like you have in Canada, you'll be able to trade the same security on 4 or 5 destinations. In the States, 13, 14 destinations. I don't think it'll be that fractured, but 1 or 2 may have the security listed. You know, and if we get it listed on the Bermudian Stock Exchange, then you may see those securities co-listed in places like OTC markets.
Right, no, great. I mean, great information. I think that's exciting for us. I mean, there's obviously going to be more and more to come as this is a new development in the marketplace, and we're excited to make the connection with you, Bill, and congratulations on the license there. And I had a picture of your fish last week. I did want to say, I had never seen, Bill caught like a 5-foot wahoo there last week.
Jealous.
In Bermuda. It might have been bigger than that. I think you said it was, what, 70, 80 pounds?
No, it's probably about 50 pounds. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. I was down there with the CEO of something called 24X, who you guys are going to probably have as a speaker sometime going forward. He's got a very interesting program where you can trade, regular MS securities 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, maybe 5.5 to start, and eventually 7. So from a trading standpoint, it should give all the people locally an opportunity to trade securities locally against their portfolio.
I actually found the picture here, and if you don't mind, we'll put it up. It's hard, I can't really make it any bigger because of the program I'm using, but here we go. The biggest fish in the land, Mr. Bill Karsh right here. I just want to bring that up. Great friend of the show. Thanks for setting this through. It seems like you guys had a lot of fun. So it's not always just business, right? No. We got to have a little bit of fun.
No, I think if you can't have a little fun in our business, then you're doing the wrong stuff.
Great, thank you, Bill. Back over to Brendan, guys.
Yeah, Bill, just one quick follow-up. Is there a time frame on this product coming to market? And also, if anyone wanted to gain more information on this, where should they look for it?
Sure. We're hoping to have something going by the first quarter of next year. Obviously, we're only a few months away from the year end. And if you want to find information, just go to velocityledger.com. And you can also, we do have an ICO that is outstanding. And if you want to make a small investment in our ICO, which is a regulated ICO approved by the Bermudian government. So all assets are secured and segregated. We'd love to have everyone come along for the ride and participate with us.
Fantastic. Bill Karsh from Velocity Ledger, always a pleasure. Please come back and join us again, and maybe once we get a little bit closer to the date, we'll have another discussion.
Thank you, Brendan, and it's always great talking to you.
Thanks, Bill. Bill Karsh from Velocity Ledger, everybody. Always a great guest, full of information, and a new product, relatively new as far as technology goes, but will be interesting to see how that progresses as we go forward in time. We're going to send it back over to the desk real quick.